been telling y'all to check these out.
I don't know what you're waiting for. Today we're talking about 10 fragrances that I've been talking about for different ranges of years depending on the fragrance. Some of them are newer than others to the channel. These are some of my favorites. I recommend them all the time. I see your comments for those of you who do try them, and I see that you enjoy them. That makes me so happy.
But I know there's a few of you that still have not tried these fragrances. I don't know why.
Maybe they don't sound interesting. Maybe they seem too expensive. Maybe they just seem not your taste, whatever it may be. Either way, I'm not gonna say this is your last warning because I will keep talking about these fragrances, of course. But this is a definitive PSA. Check these out. Let's dive right into it. No particular order here. African Leather from Nimmo. Wow, this is a wow fragrance. This is a powerhouse of a scent. It is leathery, yes, but mostly fresh spicy. It's aromatic and it's definitely got a cooling spice from cardamom. I do get this kind of resinous quality to it. Technically there's no resins in here, but I get that vibe, like a warm balsamic kind of feel. You know it when you smell it. There's a feeling, there's a texture to it, along with that leather, which does have a little bit of a roughness to it, but it's pretty smooth overall. Kind of sweet, but not in an overt way. Kind of exotic smelling. I don't like using that word, honestly, because it's so broad, but I can't think of a better word to describe this scent. Check out African Leather if you haven't already. What are you waiting on? Up next, from one of the most underrated houses, in my opinion, in terms of the designer game, we gotta talk about Cartier, and this is Cartier Parfum. I bought this on a whim. I think I had seen a couple reviews about it, and I instantly fell for this fragrance immediately. This is a stunning scent, especially for a designer. This is rich, sweet, ambery, and boozy, kind of the way it looks, with a nice kind of fir balsam feel. So you get this kind of dark green, but mostly kind of resinous feeling, adding to that ambery nature. It's warm. It definitely has a little bit of an old school vibe, reminiscent to the original Pas de Cartier from 1992, but a little bit modernized, something to dress up at night. You wear this in all black during the cooler weather. At night, this is grown in a bottle. You are grown. If you're not grown, please exit the room when it comes to Pas de Cartier Parfum. But if you want to be taken seriously, this is a great way to do it. Here's one I haven't spoken about in a second. This is coming from Javoy. This is called Incident Diplomatique. Wow, not a fragrance everyone's gonna love. I cannot get enough of this stuff, to be quite honest with you. In fact, I'm gonna wear this tonight. Let's do it. Just a few sprays. I'm here alone, and this is a powerful scent. Wow, vetiver, woody, kind of smoky, almost ashy in a way, with a little bit of a bright spiciness from mandarin orange and nutmeg working together, almost kind of juicy and smooth in a way. There's this bright, almost mouth-watering, juicy quality to the scent, but it's mostly vetiver, earthy, kind of smoky, again, ashy. Some people say it smells like someone who's been smoking cigarettes. It smells like their coat. I don't like that smell, and I'm sure many of you don't either, but there's something comforting about the scent, but it's also very, very elegant, very, very refined. This is also grown. You don't want to mess with this stuff if you're still teen bopping around the club. This is not the one for you. But if you want something strong and bold and attention grabbing, when you dress it up, Incident Diplomatique is one to check out. Again, sample it. Gonna have links down below. Now this next one, I can't be mad at you if you haven't tried this, because it's a hard one to try. You have a small window every year to try this fragrance officially. You still might be able to get it in certain places and other times of the year, but it is hard to find. This is coming from Le Labo. This is Tabak 28. One of my favorites from the house for sure. I wore this the other night and man, I love this fragrance. It makes me feel so freaking good. It makes me feel so confident. Is this a super beast compliment getter? No. It smells like kind of smoky, leafy tobacco with a little bit of a boozy, sweet rum and some spices. That's mostly what you get. It's very authentically tobacco, like Cuban cigar status. This is hard to get because it is what Le Labo calls a city exclusive. It was created specifically for the Le Labo boutique in Miami. Outside of September, every year you can only get this fragrance in Miami. But in September, you can buy it anywhere or online. So I recommend doing what you can to get a sample. I think when this is available to to purchase everywhere. You can buy samples from Le Labo. They're not cheap. It's like 12 bucks for like 1.5 milliliters, which I don't always recommend, but just find a way to get your hands on this. I'll do what I can and provide some stuff down below, but you gotta try this if you like tobacco. Probably my favorite tobacco scent in my collection, for sure. If you like green, minty, woody fragrances that are mossy as well, very strong, very bold, maybe reminiscent of some fragrances that came out in the 1980s, but just incredible, captivating fragrances. You gotta check out Amouage Beach Hut. Man, this stuff blew me off my feet when I first smelled it. Again, very minty, very green, and very woody. There's a little bit of a resinous quality from sweet myrrh that kind of binds everything together. This is an incredible scent. It is so powerful for being relatively fresh. Do sample it. Again, this is kind of on the grown side. I feel like I'm talking about all these old man fragrances, as people would put it. But this is a bold personality. That's how I would put it. Check out Beach Hut, man, if you've been sleeping on it. For your sake, not even mine, just for your sake, check this one out. A fragrance that is quickly becoming harder and harder to find because it has been discontinued. Again, a fragrance that is not for everyone. Many of you will not like this. And I get it, I understand why. But if you haven't tried it simply because you've heard people don't like it, you're doing yourself a disservice. At least sample it if you can. Gucci Guilty Absolute, Leather, Vetiver, Cypress. Cypress brings this kind of slightly fresh green woody quality on top of some smoky vetiver with a leather that is almost a little bit medicinal. All that comes together to sound like something that might sound terrible, but it's phenomenal. Not something to spray on your hand and smell up close if you've never tried it. Not something to smell right up on the paper and make your assessment. No, you gotta wear this thing, kind of like how I did with Incident Diplomatique. Get it in the air around you. That smells amazing, by the way. And then give your judgment. You gotta dress this one up though. This is no casual wear at all. Dress this up, it will do you well. But try it, just try it. Before it's gone, before you gotta pay 250 bucks for 50 mil. Check it out. This is easily one of my favorite fragrances from my collection, period. And definitely one of my favorites from this house of Cartier Parfums. You guys already know, oligarch. This stuff is incredible. This stuff is simply stunning. This is a beautiful, fruity, very fresh, woody scent. Lots of juniper berry in here. So there's a sharpness to the scent. It's almost mouth-watering and astringent. It's bright and it's inviting, but it's bold and authoritative all at the same time. This is the Eau de Parfum, which I believe has been recently discontinued. They just came out with a Parfum version. I have not tried that yet. I can't say how similar it is to the original. I'm sure it is quite similar, but I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have a hard time finding the Eau de Parfum these days. Nonetheless, if you can even get a sample of the Parfum, check it out, but it still might be out there in certain kind of unofficial websites to sample. So I'll find what I can and link it down below. Check out Oligarch if you've been sleeping on it. I've said it several times. I think this is the best fragrance that was released in 2021. And I still stand by that. Zahar Signature Rosé. This is a rose fragrance for those who love rose and those who hate rose. This is a rose incense. So there is this kind of wispy, airy quality from the olibanum, which is incense, mixing with all different types of the highest quality rose you can get, mixing with some oud, mixing with a little bit of vanilla in there. So there is this almost chocolatey, kind of creamy smoothness that's sweet in here, but that sits behind and supports the rose and the incense and the whole of the composition as it comes together. There's a transparency to it, but there is a richness at the core. Again, rose, like I've never really smelled it before. It's a beautiful fragrance. Check it out. I'm gonna link them down below. You can use the code STAYFRESH to save some money at Zahar off if you want to check out this or any other fragrances you haven't checked out yet because you're sitting on your hands. Don't know why. My favorite from the collection, L'Homme Ideal. This is the L'Intense version. As I've said in a kind of recent video, I almost completely wrote this off because I heard another reviewer saying that they didn't like it. I trust that reviewer's opinion. It's not their fault that I was swayed from it. I made my decision to say, okay, I'm gonna listen to them and not try it.
Don't ever do that.
Take all the accounts of people talking about a fragrance you're interested in just to get a general scope, because you might find a total spectrum of love and hate, which tells you you should probably try that fragrance. This stuff is smoky and spicy. That's basically how it differs from the original, which is a fantastic scent. That's kind of this creamy, cherry, almond, leather fragrance. And this takes that DNA and darkens it again with smoke and with chili pepper, making it quite spicy. Smells incredible in the air. This is something that I like to dress up at night. Not completely suit and tie, but a nice collared shirt, maybe going on a date or something like that. This works beautiful with a little bit of a chill in the air. It might be discontinued at this point, but it's still out there. Check it out. Last but not least, one of my most talked about fragrances over the past year or two. This is not a cheap fragrance, so I understand being hesitant to try it, but samples are available from the brand. You have to try this. This is perfumery at its finest, if you're asking me. You know it when you feel it. Not just when you smell it, but the feeling of the scent in your nostrils. It just kind of lingers in there. Oud Galore from Chris Collins. Yeah, again, I talk about it a lot for a freaking good reason. This is so luxurious. It is stupid. This is buttery smooth with orris. So it has a bit of a creamy quality, but you have a little bit of this elegant medicinal oud, not overly woody, not overly dry, not overly stinky as oud can be, not at all. This is just kind of in the background, providing this very interesting nuance that works beautifully with this buttery quality, a little bit of sweet, spicy warmth in there from some cinnamon, and definitely some rose as well. Just bringing kind of this soft, seductive opulence to the scent. Hard for me to truly describe to you in words. I just did my best, but you have to smell this and you'll know. You will know, even if you don't like this one, all the fragrances from this house are incredible, all of the same beautiful quality. If you're sleeping on Chris Collins, get you some samples. I will have them linked down below. That's Oud Galore. Obviously, I don't take it personally if you haven't tried any of these fragrances here. I understand you have your reasons. Money is usually a pretty big reason, but if you are actively looking for something new to capture you, to grab you, to reinvigorate your passion for the hobby, and you haven't tried any of these fragrances, get you some samples. Just try them and see. I think some of these might even be available in my Decant X pack. I have a Stay Fresh pack. I'm gonna link them down below. I haven't talked about that in a while, but we do have 3 very special packs that I curated with grace, and it allows you to sample some of our favorite fragrances, and some of these are in those packs, rightfully so. So I'm gonna have everything down in the description. Let me know what you think of these fragrances. If you have tried them and you are a real one, and you've taken my recommendations and checked these out, I'd love to know what you think. Even if you don't like them, that's fine too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe to join the Fresh Squad today. Elevate your freshness by doing so, which is you bringing your best self into every situation and using fragrance as at least a starting place for that. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.